Hello, hello. Just watching my basketball. I never won Arizona basketball. They're trying to hang on here to be still undefeated. The best start was 21-0 way back. They're 17-0. They got about 10 more minutes left, Dan. 8-point lead. Hopefully they can hang on here. Okay, Lucy. I hope you're not tired out from shoveling the snow. I hope you're okay. I told Ann. We got Tim in first, and Carol's having church dinner tonight. We'll see her tomorrow. And so, Tim, I got a video I'm playing for the people with the silver. I sent it to Ann. She said it's really good, so we'll be playing that. Hopefully, Paul will be in tonight. But I got games to watch tonight, so I'm going to stay up, try to get 3 hours in. A lot of good stuff to get out again tonight. I got 2 clips of one of our funny guy there, Terrence, came out. Oh, he came out on somebody else's video. And then we got a funny one from the YouTube lady also. So we got quite a bit. Gonna be another good night. Yes, too bad you have to do that. Lucy. KKK. And Daniel's on time. That's good. Hey, all guys. Happy Saturday, everybody. Were you listening last night? All right, it was another good one last night and another good one tonight. All right, we got a 10-point lead with 10 minutes left. Hey, Ann, there's another one that came out.
Behind this.
This one's a little bit longer, though. Wait. Dang it. Let me know, see if that is another one, or if that's the same one or not, Ann. I just sent it to you. Hey, that's Queen. Happy too. Ah, no. Go Niners. Niners, Niners. It said it came out an hour ago, Ann. It might be the same one. Ooh, wow. More, a new video from the January 6th. Oh, boy. So I am going to go ahead and start because we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. Hopefully everybody will be listening. Clara. The first one I'm going to play off my phone because it's less than a minute. It's massive fire. Guess where? Pipeline in Minnesota. So that's pipeline in Minnesota. Okay. Oh, we're going to do the gambling scene video. It's 4 minutes. I gotta log in.
This is not a scam, but this ginger tricks.
Hang on a second, you guys. Oh. What did I have?
Get the TurboTax app now.
Our office is announcing criminal charges against 26 defendants that we allege perpetrated a transnational criminal scheme to fix NCAA Division I men's basketball games, as well as Professional Chinese Basketball Association games. In the indictment and related filings that we unsealed today, we allege an extensive international criminal conspiracy of NCAA players, alumni, and professional bettors who fixed games and poisoned the American spirit of competition for monetary gain. But in its essence, this is a prosecution of the criminal corruption of collegiate athletics. And as we allege in the indictment, this was a scheme that spanned 3 years and eventually enveloped 17 NCAA Division I men's programs, dozens of college athletes, and fixed games. You can bet on sports to win or lose, but you can also bet on games in terms of whether a team will win or lose by a certain amount, and that's called a point spread. The scheme here was the defendants would identify a game in which a corrupted player had a team that was favored to lose, and then they would bribe said player to deliberately underperform so that his team would lose by more than they were favored to. They would bet for them to not cover the point spread. Mr. Fairley, Mr. Hennon, and these other leaders would bribe NCAA basketball players to the tune of $10,000 to $30,000 per game. The player would then agree to deliberately underperform in the game in which his team was favored to lose by a certain amount of points. They would then try to lose the game by more than that amount. So, for example, if a team was favored to lose by 4 points, the player would receive a bribe to underperform so that his team would lose more than that. They did so with carefully orchestrated FaceTime calls to obscure and prevent their communications from being intercepted and recorded. They recruited other players. They had players recruit their teammates. And this scheme and this conspiracy eventually mushroomed. It eventually enveloped 17 NCAA Division I programs, 39 players, and 29 games that we allege were either fixed or attempted to be fixed. It enveloped the world of college basketball. It included conferences such as the Big East, the Atlantic 10 Conference, the Sun Belt, the Horizon League. It involved games against nationally ranked programs. It involved games in the playoffs of conference championships. It was a significant corruption of the integrity of sports. Once a player received a bribe, Mr. Faley and Mr. Hennon would then place substantial amounts of money to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars per game to enrich themselves, to the tune of an aggregate loss of millions of dollars in fraudulent sports bets on bribed and fixed games.
Okay. More gambling stuff in college. I got the next one in 3 minutes.
Against Trump. Trump and his economic team aren't just exposing the inner workings of a decades-long coup against him. They are preparing the American people for a huge economic fight. They're bringing you into a public and heated discussion about the very viability of the Federal Reserve. Listen to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
I think that what we need to do is examine the entire Federal Reserve institution and whether they have been successful.
Now listen to Kevin Warsh's comments about the Fed. Warsh is being considered as a replacement for Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell whenever and however Powell's term ends. Here's what Warsh said about the Fed. We need regime change in the conduct of policy. But Warsh's other remarks are frankly even more interesting because he takes to task some hallowed Fed axioms. The Fed seems to see every sign of economic growth as inflationary. That's not how it should be. Economic growth isn't inflation. Growth is how you solve these problems, not cause them. They think inflation comes if the economy runs too hot and workers get paid too much. That's not my view. And then you have Trump himself, who continues to call Powell a numbskull and drills down on the fact that the Fed's high interest rate policies make it impossible for young people to own a home. Put all of that together, and you begin to see a concept arising of a different kind of banking system, one that supports a decent standard of living driven by the actual growth of the economy and not the demands of the empire of money. That was once widely known as the American system. Now, Judy Shelton, who was nominated for the Fed in Trump's first term but wasn't confirmed, tiptoed a little closer to the question of the constitutionality, or really the unconstitutionality of the Fed. She said, I don't think it is the role of the Fed to stand in judgment of the economic policies of an elected president. It violates the norms of democratic
Is
government
that another
to have the
one?
head of an agency who is
Another
so
one, Ed?
powerful they can't be fired. Now, in that same interview, she pointed out that the Fed has been paying hundreds of billions of dollars to private banks for parking cash reserves at the Fed rather than investing in the real economy. Think about that. They're literally paying banks not to invest in productive activity. And the question of productive activity and growing our way out of our deficit crisis and the need to have institutions that support that has become a driving theme of Trump and his allies. This is exactly what William McKinley understood over 120 years ago, that the financial system should serve the productive economy, not the other way around. Trump is bringing back the American system that built this country into an industrial powerhouse. Now,
that was a short one with her on that. Okay, guys, ready for some funny stuff here. Oh. God darn it. I gotta play this one on my phone, you guys. It won't let me.
Prometo que después de este no vas a verme hoy así vestido en más ninguno. Pero mira.
Wait a minute, what happened? Jay.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. But I tell you what, this is better than going to the movies. This is better than Netflix. I don't need no Netflix. I don't need no Hulu. All I need is this right here. I can watch this all day long. This is my new favorite show. Watching people get pepper sprayed for acting. Watching people get maced and pepper sprayed for acting stupid. Give me some more.
Oh. I think that was only one of them he had.
This is better than this, dude.
Yeah, it was only one. I got the YouTube lady coming up here shortly too. So
Better than going to the movies.
where is that one at? Is Paul in here yet? No, Paul's not in here yet. Tim and Ann. I'll wait a few more minutes before we get that other one.
What if I told you that the United States doesn't want to buy Greenland?
I don't think I played this one.
Billionaires to create the world's first ever AI hub. Stick with me. Peter Thiel has made it clear that he wants to turn Greenland into the world's first ever freedom city with a government run by technology, not the people. And not only, but Greenland has the perfect climate for the massive AI data centers that are needed. Plus, all of those rare earth minerals that are untapped are perfect to manufacture consumer electronics. This is probably why, before the United States even talked about buying Greenland, Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman, and Bill Gates invested in the idea because it's been their plan for a while now. They just needed to get all of the pieces in place. For one, they needed one of their own guys to broker the deal. And guess who got sworn in late last year to be the ambassador to Greenland? Ken Howry, one of the original PayPal mafia guys.
Yeah,
in other words, he was one of the
left.
guys that started PayPal with Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. President Trump tweeted that the United States is no longer going to be footing the bill for these giant AI centers, and that the United States is #1 in AI data centers, and that that's the key to keeping Americans free and secure. So in other words, buying Greenland is a win-win for his donors and the American people. Because after all, our alliance with NATO gives us a permanent U.S. military presence in Greenland. But it doesn't give us access to build the world's first ever AI hub, city, and win the AI race. Plus, we all know that politics is a I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And Peter Thiel has funded J.D. Vance's whole entire career
Another good
and
one.
President Trump's campaigns. So he's due for a payout. So if given the opportunity, would you move to Freedom City? And how free do you think it will actually be? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Hey, she's a new lady on TikTok. Ah. Oh, I got to play this one on the phone.
Of former Secretary Hillary R. Clinton, conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. On July 23, 2025, the Subcommittee on Federal Law Enforcement unanimously voted to approve a motion directing the committee to authorize and issue a subpoena to former Secretary Clinton for a deposition. I'm going to note for the record that former Secretary Clinton is not present. The time to mark items for the record. We will mark as Exhibit 1 a cover letter from Chairman Comer dated August 5th, 2025, enclosing the deposition subpoena and email confirmation from former Secretary Clinton's attorney, David Kendall, accepting the letter and the subpoena. We will mark as Exhibit 7 the deposition notice issued by the committee on December 12th, 2025. We will mark as Exhibit 8 a letter dated December 15th, 2025 from Chairman Comer to Mr. Kendall, again urging his clients to appear and referencing that failure to appear will initiate the prospect of contempt proceedings. The letter also encloses the updated deposition subpoena date and email confirmation from Mr. Kendall accepting the letter and subpoena. I will note that the time is now 10:07 a.m. and former Secretary Clinton has still not appeared. Does the chairman wish to add anything to the record?
Yes. Good morning. We're here today for the deposition of former Secretary Hillary Clinton, and she did not appear. Just like her husband, Secretary Clinton is defying our duly authorized congressional subpoena. The Oversight Committee will also initiate contempt of Congress proceedings against the former Secretary of State for defying the law.
Whoa. What do you guys think of that one? I heard that Bill Clinton left the country on somewhere. I heard it. He might have left the country. Yeah, okay, here it is. And seeing a pause, listening or coming in because got a silver thing video for the people with all that stuff. Will be the first 30-minute one here in a minute. Okay. Yep. Okay, I guess we better get this one out of the way. Then we'll get going on the others.
We have officially entered the realm of the impossible.
25.
For the last 48 hours, we have been analyzing the symptoms of the market. We looked at the crash to $86. We looked at the closed doors of the United States. We looked at the $13 premium in Shanghai. These were all clues, signals telling us that a fire was burning somewhere deep inside the financial system. But today, Saturday, January 17th, 2026, rumors are circulating that suggest the fire is much larger than anyone imagined. We are looking at a highly controversial, unverified ledger that has gone viral across institutional trading desks this morning. This document purports to show the shadow short positions of the largest banks in the world, positions that are hidden in the over-the-counter derivatives market and do not appear on the official government reports. And the numbers on this page are not just bad, they are terminal. According to these leaked estimates, two of the largest banks in the United States, Bank of America and Citigroup, could be sitting on a combined net liability of up to 4.4 billion ounces of silver. Let me repeat that number because it is so large, it sounds almost fictional. 4.4 billion ounces. Now, we must be careful. The official commitment of traders report shows a short position of around 500 million ounces. That is already massive. But if this leak is true, if the banks have hidden
And
another
so this
4
is a
billion
good
ounces in
one,
off-balance
Jim.
sheet derivatives, then the math of the silver market is fundamentally broken. To understand why this would be a death sentence for these institutions, you have to understand the physical reality of the silver market. The entire global mining industry, every mine in Mexico, Peru, China, Russia, and Australia combined, produces approximately 800 million ounces of silver per year. That is the hard ceiling. We cannot print more. We cannot dig it up faster. So do the math. If global production is 800 million ounces, and these banks have allegedly sold 4.4 billion ounces, they have effectively sold 5.5 years of total global supply. They have sold silver that has not been mined yet. They have sold silver that will not be dug out of the ground until the year 2031. This is the textbook definition of a naked short. They have sold a promise that they cannot physically keep. In a normal market, a short seller borrows an asset, sells it, and hopes to buy it back cheaper. But to do that, the asset has to exist. You have to be able to find it. Where are Bank of America and Citigroup going to find 4 billion ounces of silver? They cannot find it at the COMEX. The registered inventory is down to 120 million ounces. They cannot find it at the US Mint. The Mint has suspended sales. They cannot find it in London. The vaults are empty. Whether the number is 500 million or 4 billion, they are trapped in a mathematical prison of their own making. This explains the violence we saw on Thursday. Remember the flash crash? Remember how the price dropped from $92 to $86 in minutes? The media told you that was profit taking. The media told you it was a technical correction. They were likely lying. That crash looks exactly like a desperate survival level attempt to manage a liability that is spiraling out of control. Every time the price of silver goes up by $1, a short position of 4 billion ounces loses $4 billion. When silver went from $50 to $90, if these rumors are true, they lost roughly $160 billion in paper value. This is why they smashed the price. They were not trying to make money. They were trying to stop the bleeding. They were trying to prevent a margin call that would liquidate the bank. But here's the problem with a naked short of this magnitude. It creates a black hole in the market. Because they have sold 5 times more silver than exists in the annual supply, they have created a future demand that is 5 times larger than the future supply. Eventually, they have to close these positions. They have to buy back the contracts. Who are they going to buy them from? Are they going to buy them from you? Are they going to buy them from Samsung? Are they going to buy them from the Chinese government? Nobody is selling. This is why the price bounced back so quickly. The market realizes that the short interest, whether official or shadow, is actually just future buying pressure. Every short position is a guaranteed future buyer. Bank of America is not a seller of silver. They are a guaranteed buyer of silver. They just haven't bought it yet. This realization flips the entire narrative on its head. We are not looking at a market that is overbought. We are looking at a market that is oversold to a degree that has never happened in the history of finance. If the shadow leverage is real, we are looking at a short interest relative to annual production of 550%. Compare this to the Volkswagen squeeze of 2008. In that squeeze, the short interest was roughly 12% of the float, and the price went up 500% in a day. Compare it to the GameStop squeeze. The short interest was 140%, and the price went up 1,000%. We are looking at a potential short interest that dwarfs anything we have ever seen. The potential energy stored in this trade is nuclear, and this brings us to the counterparty risk. If you hold a paper contract for silver on the COMEX, who is on the other side of that trade? Who promised to deliver that silver to you? It is likely one of these massive banks. If they owe billions of ounces and they only have access to maybe 50 million ounces in their vaults, they are insolvent. They cannot deliver. This means that the millions of people holding paper silver are holding a contract with a bankrupt entity. They are holding a promise from someone who cannot pay. This is why the physical price is decoupling. The physical market suspects that the paper market is a fraud. When dealers charge $120 for a coin, they are pricing in the risk that the banks will fail. They are pricing in the reality that the paper contracts are worthless because the metal doesn't exist. We have spent years talking about manipulation. We talked about spoofing. We talked about capping. But this leaked data changes the conversation. This isn't just manipulation. This is recklessness on a scale that threatens the stability of the entire global financial system. These banks have supposedly bet the house against silver, and silver is winning. In the next part of this deep dive, we are going to calculate the insolvency number. We are going to take the current price of $90, multiply it by this rumored short position, and show you the hole in their balance sheet. We are going to compare that number to the total equity of these banks. And we are going to show you why the Federal Reserve will have no choice but to intervene. But they won't intervene by finding more silver. They will intervene by printing more dollars. The math is terminal. The liability is absolute, and the clock is ticking. We have established the premise, based on the leaked data circulating on institutional desks, that Bank of America and Citigroup may be holding a combined shadow short position of 4.4 billion ounces of silver. Now, we must do the math that the mainstream media is too afraid to do. We must calculate the mark-to-market damage. We must quantify the hole in the hull of the ship. Take the current price of silver, let's call it $90 an ounce to keep the math simple. Multiply $90 by 4.4 billion ounces. The result is $396 billion. Let that number sink in, $396 billion. This is not a trading loss. This is not a bad quarter. This is a solvency event. To put this number into perspective, let's look at the market capitalization of these banks. The market cap is the total value of every single share of stock the bank has issued. It is what the market thinks the entire company is worth. Citigroup has a market cap of roughly $120 billion. Bank of America has a market cap of roughly $260 billion. If you add them together, their combined equity value is roughly $380 billion. The liability from the silver short position, $396 billion, is larger than the total value of the banks themselves. If they were forced to cover this position at $90 today, they would be wiped out. Their equity would be zero. Their shareholders would be zeroed out. The banks would technically be bankrupt. And that assumes they could cover at $90. But as we discussed in part 1, if they tried to buy 4 billion ounces, the price wouldn't stay at $90. It would go to $500. So the liability isn't $390 billion. It is theoretically infinite. This insolvency equation is the key to understanding the insane volatility we witnessed on Thursday. When silver hit $92, the algorithm at the risk desk started flashing red. The liability was crossing the threshold of the bank's Tier 1 capital reserves. They were facing an immediate margin call from the clearinghouse. They had two choices. Choice A, admit defeat, buy back the shorts, send the price to the moon and declare bankruptcy. Choice B, sell everything they had, paper contracts, gold, equities, to smash the price of silver back down to $86. They chose choice B. By smashing the price from $92 to $86, they reduced the price by $6 per ounce. $6 times 4.4 billion ounces is $26.4 billion. In a matter of minutes, they reduced their paper liability by $26 billion. That is enough to satisfy the margin clerk for one more day. That is enough to keep the lights on for one more night. This wasn't trading. This was survival mode. They were not trying to profit. They were trying to avoid immediate liquidation. But here's the catch. This strategy only works if the price stays down. But the price didn't stay down. It ripped right back to $90. The $26 billion of relief evaporated as fast as it appeared. They are right back where they started,
Everybody
but with
okay
one
with
major
this
difference. They have used up their ammunition. They have exhausted their ability to shock the market. And while they are fighting the paper war on the screen, the physical market is sending a signal that confirms they are already dead. That signal is backwardation. In a normal market for a non-perishable commodity like silver, the future price should be higher than the spot price. This is called contango. It costs money to store silver, to insure it, to secure it. So silver for delivery in 6 months should cost more than silver for delivery today. But right now, the market is in backwardation. The spot price is higher than the futures price. And critically, the lease rates are skyrocketing. A lease rate is the cost to borrow physical silver. If you are a bank and you're short, you can try to lease silver from someone else to deliver it and kick the can down the road. When lease rates go vertical, as they are doing right now, it means there is no silver available to borrow. The owners of the silver are saying, no, I won't lend it to you. I want it in my vault. This is the physical market screaming that there is a shortage. When you combine a 4 billion ounce paper short with a physical market in backwardation, you get a death spiral. The banks need to borrow silver to cover their shorts, but they can't borrow it because lease rates are too high. So they have to buy it, but they can't buy it because the price is too high and they are insolvent. So they try to smash the price, but the smash fails because the physical buyers step in. It is a trap with no exit. This brings us to the systemic risk implied by this leak. If Bank of America and Citigroup are insolvent because of silver, this is not just a silver problem. It is a global financial problem. Systemically important banks, GSIBs. They're the plumbing of the world economy. If they fail, the derivatives market freezes, the credit market freezes, ATMs stop working. This is why the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury are involved. They know about this short position. They have seen the ledger. Why do you think Treasury Secretary Bessent called an emergency G7 meeting? Why do you think the US Mint suspended sales? They are trying to manage the collapse of this short position without destroying the dollar. They are trying to engineer a soft landing for a 4 billion ounce bomb. But there is no soft landing for a naked short in a commodity shortage. There is only a hard landing. The only way to save the banks is to bail them out. The Federal Reserve will have to print $390 billion, and likely much more, to cover these losses. They will have to monetize the silver short. This means that the price of silver isn't just going up because of supply and demand. It is going up because it is being repriced in a currency that is about to be diluted to save the banking system. We are watching the setup for the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. The wealth is transferring from the banks who sold paper silver to the individuals who bought physical silver. The insolvency equation has been solved. The result is zero for the banks and infinity for the metal. But history tells us that this kind of event doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in cycles. It happens according to a rhythm that has repeated for over 100 years. There is a chart, a pattern, that predicted this exact moment. It predicted that the year 2026 would be the year of the commodity boom and the stock market bust. In the next part of this deep dive, we're going to look at the Benner cycle. We are going to show you a chart drawn over 100 years ago that pointed to this specific year as the turning point. We are going to explain why the trap the banks have fallen into was predictable, cyclical, and inevitable. The banks are fighting math, they are fighting physics, and now they are fighting history. The $390 billion bill has come due, and they cannot pay. We have analyzed the impossible math of the 4.4 billion ounce short position. We have dissected the insolvency equation that threatens to wipe out the equity of the world's largest banks. But to truly understand why this is happening right now, why the system is breaking in January of 2026 and not a year earlier or a year later, we have to look beyond the balance sheets. We have to look at the rhythm of history itself. There's a chart that has been circulating quietly among the most elite macro investors for decades. It is not a chart produced by a Goldman Sachs algorithm. It is not a chart generated by an artificial intelligence. It is a hand-drawn chart from the year 1875. It was created by a prosperous Ohio farmer named Samuel Benner. Benner noticed that market panics, commodity booms, and financial crashes followed a specific, repeatable pattern. He mapped this pattern out on a piece of paper over 150 years ago. He called it the Benner cycle. For a century and a half, this chart has predicted almost every major financial turning point with terrifying accuracy. It predicted the panic of 1929. It predicted the bottom of 1932. It predicted the dot-com bubble of 2000. It predicted the crash of 2008, and then again. And there's a red circle around the year 2026. According to the Benner cycle, 2026 is designated as a year of good times, high prices, and the time to sell stocks and values of all kinds. Now, you might hear good times and think that sounds positive for the banks, but you have to understand what Benner meant. In his cycle, high prices marks the blow off top. It marks the peak of the mania. It marks the moment of maximum danger where the smart money exits the paper market before the crash. It says explicitly, time to sell stocks. This is the prophecy that the banks ignored. Bank of America and Citigroup built their massive short positions in silver based on the assumption that the paper age would last forever. They assumed that they could suppress commodity prices indefinitely while the stock market and the bond market climbed to the moon. They bet against the cycle. The Benner cycle dictates that capital rotates. It moves from paper assets, like stocks and bonds, into hard assets, like commodities and land. This rotation happens at the peak of the cycle, when confidence in the paper system is highest.
What did I just do? Dang it. Yeah, I didn't lose you guys.
It moves from paper assets, like stocks and bonds, into hard assets, like commodities and land. This rotation happens at the peak of the cycle, when confidence in the paper system is highest, just before it collapses. We are living through that exact pivot point right now. The short squeeze in silver is not an isolated event. It is the mechanism by which the Benner cycle enforces its will. Think about it. The banks are short silver. That means they are betting that the price of hard assets will go down. But the cycle says that we are entering a period where paper assets crash and hard assets explode. They're standing on the beach, trying to hold back the tide of history with a paper contract. This explains why they are trapped. They didn't just make a bad trade, they made a fundamental error in judging the economic season. They're trying to harvest crops in the middle of winter. When the Benner cycle turns, the flows of capital become irresistible. We are talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars in global wealth looking for a new home. If the cycle says sell stocks, where does that money go?
All right, we got the best part. Okay, Ann already saw it, I think. It was 15 minutes. Well, I think it was about 15 minutes. So, time for Q.
For the NATO nations. So Trump has, after this Venezuela situation, Trump has made it very, very clear about his intentions in pursuing Greenland. Now, he's hinted at military action, but his actions show that he is 100% engaged in offering something to the people of Greenland to encourage them to want to become Americans, to want to be part of America. I mean, if you gave me a choice, like whether I wanted to be a Dane, to belong to Denmark or to the United States, I would most definitely choose to be an American. Now, that's just me. But the interesting part about it is, of course, the Danes are looking at this and they're saying, wait a minute, you can't just take our land away from us. And Trump is saying that's kind of what we do. We are an empire. And as an empire, we're going to do what is best for America. And in putting America first means that we need this for our security and we're going to take it one way or the other. So take this check. The problem is that now we're starting to see a lot of NATO nations that are standing up. The latest one was Mike Carney up in Canada, and he's saying that he's going to stand with Denmark, and if it takes military action against the United States to support their NATO partner in Kingdom of Denmark, then that's what they are going to do. That's really dangerous territory to be, Mike Carney, threatening your neighboring nation, the United States. Have you ever heard of the Canadian military? There's a reason for that. They've relied on us to protect them for years. None of the NATO, in fact, if the United States pulled out of NATO tomorrow and stopped contributing to that, then NATO would fold like a cheap lawn chair. So the United States, up until recently, was fitting almost the entire bill until Trump said, wait, y'all got to pay your fair share. But what we learned was that organization doesn't serve the United States. That nation, that organization stands to serve the Europeans. We have two gigantic oceans on both sides of us. We are protected for the most part from at least a foreign invasion, unless you're considering Canada a real threat, which I don't think any of us truly do. But for him to make that type of a threat, I believe that Trump has wanted to remove us from NATO altogether. And I believe that one of the primary reasons that Trump is pushing this Greenland thing is to show the world and to show Americans especially what the NATO nations truly think of the United States. And the truth be told, we're their meal ticket. And that is it. Because as soon as we do something that they feel that they don't like, they start threatening to come fight us. And you know what? I don't want to see any war. But at the end of the day, with friends like that, who needs enemies? I hope that Trump does pull the plug on NATO and takes us out of that ungodly alliance anyway. But the fact that Mike Carney, going back to Carney's statement, saying that they will stand up militarily against the United States is laughable. In my opinion, I think Trump needs to make the 51st state Canada. He already made the joke before, need to make it a reality. That should be next on the list. Let me know what you guys think about this. Comment below. Do you support the idea of Trump removing himself or us from NATO? Or do you feel that that's something that we owe the Europeans? Or do you feel that it is something that is necessary for America to be a part of? Comment below. I can't wait to hear what you guys would say. I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, that was the first one. Hey, Mike, what do you got here? What one did you want me to? Is there a video you want me to play? I want to do this real quick. Okay. Before the second Q one. Roses are red, violets are blue. I really love being on a government watch list with all of you. I think that's Lucy's sign. Lucy always says that. Okay, this is the second cue.
Cuffed and tied behind his back, and he absolutely is being forced into a corner. He does not want to use the Insurrection Act. A lot of presidents have done it before. In fact, a large portion of the presidents in the past have used the Insurrection Act at least once before. But Donald Trump is trying not to use it. But this judge, I don't know if you guys read this morning, but this district judge, Catherine Menendez, she actually put a restraining order on ICE today. There are over 3,000 ICE agents in the state of Minnesota right now. They are working at the behest, at the pleasure of the president. They are carrying out the president's agenda. They are withholding or are upholding the Constitution of the United States. People are here illegally, and they are removing them legally. And this judge is putting a restraining order on them, saying that not only are they not allowed to disperse the protesters, they're not allowed to use non-lethal force to get protesters out. They are not allowed to arrest these protesters. Now, she did say that the peaceful protesters. The problem is there are people who are being beaten within an inch of their life right now, and we're being told the protests are peaceful. And so she's she's building a situation right now where she's putting ICE agents at risk. She's putting federal agents at risk. She's taking away the teeth that they have. I mean, thank God that these guys are in a position where they're still trying to use non-lethal force. I don't know that I would have the restraint to continue trying to use non-lethal force at this point. But she's saying they can't stop the protesters from following them, that they can't stop them from following the ICE vehicles. They cannot stop them from gathering around places where they are arresting people, where they are actually working. So how are they supposed to secure the perimeter around where they're working? They are purposely, at this point, I'm convinced, they are purposely trying to put agents in a situation where someone gets hurt so that they can politicize that and use it to win the the elections in the midterm. I'm telling you, they are looking for their George Floyd moment. And sadly to say, they need someone of color is what they need. and they are going to continue fighting to get it so that they can get everybody up in arms. The only way this is going to get fixed is through the Insurrection Act. And I appreciate the fact that Donald Trump has done everything he can to not use that tool within his box. But the time has come when judges start inserting themselves into federal operations, when they start to put restraining orders on law enforcement, on federal law enforcement, and putting their lives at risk, there's nothing else to be done. And at this point, Trump has already mobilized the National Guard. He's already got the military following police vehicles. People on the ground have said they've already seen Hummers rolling into town, and it looks as though it is inevitable. The Insurrection Act will be used, I believe, very soon. Comment below. Let me know what you guys.
Okay, that was the second one. I'm gonna get the lady on YouTube. She has 2,000 likes or views on her video today. I think it's a funny one.
You need to give me my 12.
I'm not giving you anything. You need to leave or you'll be under arrest for trespass.
Y'all bitches out here fucking right. Oh my God, bro. We need more. Stay back right now.
All right, everyone, get ready because today's body cam video is a masterclass in how to turn a minor inconvenience into multiple criminal charges. It all starts out with grown-ass adults losing their minds over a $1 pizza fee. And it quickly spirals out of control, and somehow everyone ends up in handcuffs. Really, it's just one of those situations where police officers show up to mediate a very difficult situation. The business is trying to explain reality, and instead of taking the loss and just leaving, people decide to argue, refuse, escalate, and fight the system, all over $12. So let's watch what happens when entitlement, ego, and zero self-control all collide at the same time. One thing is for sure, it did not have to end this way.
An argument over a refund quickly escalates into a chaotic arrest after these entitled siblings push way too far when things don't go their way. On September 10th, officers in Kiwani were called to a gas station by the suspects.
911. Hi, can I get a piece of police to the ghetto gas in it? What's going on? Because they don't want to give me my money back for this pizza, and I don't want it. What's your name? My name is Coco. Coco, what's your last name?
A fight had broken out between the callers and a staff member after they were upcharged on a food item, then denied a refund.
This is all over $1.
Are you
Police arrive and try to mediate the situation, but it's to no avail. Their behavior is so out of control that all of them end up arrested.
He's charging me for a pizza, and now he's telling me I owe him $1. I don't even want the pizza. He left. Him and his wife just left. Some black girl in there. And they didn't give me my $12 back, so I want my money back. I don't want the pizza. I don't even trust the pizza. She's rude as fuck. I don't care. And you already know I don't even play with people. So now she got to wait till somebody to refund from Goldie. I'm not getting my shit.
So,
I want my money. I'm not from down
order
here.
a pizza?
I ordered a pizza. About 30, 40 minutes ago. They didn't tell me that it was $1 fee. They should have told me that. She told me to come back. I told them I was going to send my stepdaddy up here to get the pizza. She gets on the phone telling me about $1. I said, what's $1 for? I already paid for the pizza. Go to receipt right here. I got some other shit. The kids and shit didn't ate that already. That was 40 minutes ago. I don't even want the pizza. I don't trust the pizza. Remind you. Can I get my $12? They know. She dealt with Goldie. She dealt with them all. But like I told you, when you buy a frozen pizza on Link, it's $1 fee to cook it. That's her problem that she didn't tell her.
Okay.
And like when I got here, when she told me what happened, I said, well, just get them a pizza, and that's fine. We can pay for $1. They left. I can't deal with that.
So
but when I told her it was not my fault, it's a motherfucker for not explaining when you buy it from down there, sir. I don't know what's going on. My mama don't want the pizza. I was betting for them. Now I don't want it. I want my $12 back.
I don't know what's going on either. I mean, like, I know what's going on, but thank God for subtitles. So I know that we can't really see what's going on right now. It says here clearly that the footage is censored by the police department until the 3-minute mark, which, by the way, this original body cam video, I will link down in my video description below so that you can go watch the entire video and follow that YouTube channel if you would like to. Every time I do these, the original body cams are always linked in my video description. So we can't see what's going on right now. There's just a lot of words, and I'm very thankful for the captions because this would be very, very hard to follow. It's so many people talking all at once. And let's just be real, proper diction would probably come in handy right about now. So it sounds like they ordered a pizza through a link, but when you order a pizza through a link for this gas station, there's a $1 fee tacked on. Well, I guess the mother of the woman who is now at the gas station took the order, didn't inform them of a $1 fee. This is what I'm kind of deciphering from what I'm reading on the captions, because obviously I can't see anything. And now these people are so pissed off about a $1 fee that they say, forget it. I don't even want the pizza. Give me my $12 back. But I guess they already cooked the pizza, and the policy is no refunds once they've cooked the food. I think this whole thing is turning into like out of principle. It's out of principle for the customers. It's out of principle for the gas station attendant that they're not going to refund an entire pizza just because you didn't want to pay a $1 fee. They even said that they would take over the $1 fee, and that's still not good enough. They say that they don't trust the pizza now. Trust the pizza now? What do you think? They spit in it? I mean, if this confrontation would have happened before they made the pizza, then yeah, they probably spit in it.
I don't want the pizza. Okay. I'm leaving. Well, you got. Here's the deal: as you engaged in a transaction that made something that expires or goes bad, so they made this pizza for you. I don't trust it. I know, but you can't return something that is made. You eat. I don't want to eat it. I don't want it either. You already made this. Well, they should have stayed here when the police came. I need my money. I don't want the pizza. I don't even trust it. You don't trust the pizza? No, I don't. I don't want that damn pizza. Since you don't want that damn pizza. Do you want? I already paid for it. I want my $12. It's not paid for. I just got to pay $1 for it. I'll pay the $1. Okay. I told them I would have paid the damn $1. It ain't about the $1, baby. I got plenty of money. It's not even about it's not about the $1. My boss. I got plenty of money, baby. Plenty of money in here. It's not about the $1. I'm not about the $1. It's not about the $1. This isn't. It's not about the $1. This is not her fault. I wasn't but how you know back up here? Because I don't want the pizza. I'm the one that ain't coming back. They got to go to the block. They ain't coming back. That's why I'm here. Well, give me my $12 back because I don't want the pizza. It's already paid for. It's already made. I don't want it. It's next in the kitchen. I'll go away later. You know, the customer was right. I'm sorry, what? Customer was right. What y'all going to do about the pizza because I don't want it? Well, I mean, that's you don't have to come down here and buy anything from them. You know what I mean? Do you have your ID, man? I'm not giving you my ID.
It's about time I made Marvel Rivals the most hero ever. First, some hot redheaders trying to blast my ass a few new holes.
Oh, okay. So this is where it starts. This is where it starts. I'm not giving you my ID. We've seen how this turns out for people that don't want to give up their ID.
Why am I getting arrested though? Why am I getting arrested?
You have to positively identify you right now, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be obstructing identification, okay?
If I identify myself, am I
That's
going
not how
to
this
be
works. Are you going to identify yourself or not? Are you going to refuse to identify yourself and continue to obstruct
That's a crime?
identification? Yes.
Spoiler alert, you have to give up your ID if a police officer asks for it, especially when you're the one that calls them. You literally called the police department to come mediate the situation, and then you're going to refuse to give your ID when asked? Sounds like that can't go wrong.
I called the police. You gonna call the police for me? I said I called them on myself. Damn it, when you buy a pizza, what you gotta pay? You gotta pay $1. They didn't tell me that. I wasn't here. Amon was here. Amon didn't tell me. They didn't tell me that. So when he came to pizza, I don't even trust the pizza.
So where we're at here,
is y'all gonna give me my $12?
I'm not giving you anything.
Could they give me my $12 back? I don't want
I don't believe that they can because the pizza was made. So do you want your pizza?
I don't want the pizza. Why would you want the pizza if they want
Okay. So you can file a civil suit against them for $12.
$12?
I'm saying that's it. It's a civil situation.
Well, back up here. Whoever his name is. I'm not from down here. I don't know what's going on. Where's your supervisor?
I am the supervisor.
Okay, so why can't you make them give her $12 back?
Because this is a civil interaction, is what it is. It's not a theft.
It's not a
Their pizza. They said that she could have the pizza.
She can't have the pizza. It gotta be either you gotta get that
$12 to my sister, or it's gonna be that. You charge somebody a certain price. You tell me that the pizza is $11.99, $12. You don't tell me about it, don't charge the fee. I tell you, it's gonna be ready in 20 minutes. Come back in 20 minutes. You owe me $1. Yo, man, trying to get over. You gonna pay for it. You gonna pay the extra $1 if somebody tells you that they owe you extra $1.
This is all over $1.
Are you trying to?
The moment of realization for this police officer. This is all over $1. I understand being pissed off because you didn't know that there was a $1 fee, but it sounded like they started to throw such a huge stink over that $1 that the clerk was just like, okay, no problem. We'll eat the freaking $1. Just leave. And that is the moment when they said, you know what? We don't even want the pizza. Give us our $12 back. And that is what's brought us to this moment right now. They decided that they wanted to just throw a fit out of principle and say, you know what, you're going to try to scam me out of $1. Well, now I want all my money back. But the problem is, and this is completely understandable, but of course, this group of women can't be reasoned with. When the food is cooked and it's paid for, unless there is something wrong, you shouldn't be able to get a refund. And they're standing firm on that. Like, we made the food. We're not going to take that loss just because you want to be difficult. We offered to eat the $1 fee. So take your freaking pizza and GTFO. And now the cops are here and all of this is spiraling out of control.
Are you I don't want the $1 because they should never land. What? It's not even that. It don't even matter. It don't matter about the $1. I want my $12 back. That's what I want.
Do you want them to leave?
Yes, please and thank you. You know, if I would have asked you for $1, you would have paid that $1, right? Out of here. Goofy ass old man.
15 more minutes, unless you guys want me to stop it, I will.
The pizza?
That's a lie. It's a lie. It's the principle. I want my $12 back. I don't want the pizza.
Okay.
It's the principle of the situation. That's what I get. Ain't no
You
deal.
can have your pizza.
I don't want that pizza.
Then you need to leave.
Then you need to give me my $12.
I'm not giving you anything. You need to leave or you'll be under arrest for trespass.
Ain't nobody trespassing. I
know. You are now being told to leave. You're now being trespassed.
Let them leave. I swear to God, let them leave. I tell you, y'all today,
There they go, racist. You got racist. You don't get the rating, Sam.
Under arrest. Get back. Everybody. Police officers. Stop. Under arrest. You are getting you want to be released. You want to get back right now. Turn around. Walk right now. Get off now. No, I'm not. Everybody's under arrest. Walk to the car. Walk to the car.
They trying to take you to jail, bro.
Get back. Back it up right now. Right now. You are under arrest now too.
Let me go. Oh my God, bro.
We need more.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Stay back right now.
I'm over $12.
Give my stuff. Give my stuff. That's it. Bro, let me sit down, please.
Okay,
I'm getting very irritated. I'm getting very irritated. Bro, get my purse. Get my purse.
Life is beautiful and fragile. We fall.
I am getting very irritated. No Wow, that was a lot that happened all at once. I want to go back. What happened when they walked out that door? I'm going back to when they walked out that door. What did they do? Oh, she pushed the cop. That's what happened. Oh, so one of the police officers was pushing her out the door, and then someone ran up and pushed the cop. Oh, yeah, that's a big no-no. And then No wonder their asses got taken down to the concrete. Let's see that one more time. Are you pushing me? Yes, he is. That's what did it. I missed that the first time. Had to go back and see it again. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, shouldn't have done that.
Turn around. Passenger side of my car. Yo, she started too. I get up, bro. Yes, you hit me in the face. Because you got my sister, bro. Let me go. Nope. I see the whole thing. Let me go. You got it? If she would obey, she'd be walking out the police department in 15 minutes. Now you're going to jail.
Record that. You put your hands on me.
The audacity, man. They literally pushed and hit a cop in the face, and she has the nerve to say, record this. You put your hands on me. You put your hands on a police officer, honey. The audacity. It's like they think that cops aren't allowed to touch them. It's like there are some people that I have noticed. It seems like they think when they call the police officer is supposed to show up and do whatever they want. And that's why there's so much just like shock, I think, where people are just like, holy crap, the cops are after me now. Yeah, it's because you can't just do whatever the you want. Shove a cop because you see the cop shoving your sister. Let's be real now. It escalated so quickly when that happened. And now they're sitting, record this. He's touching me. Well, no he's touching you now.
No, me. And I didn't even do anything. You're not even supposed to be touching me. You're a hoe. Yeah. You're not even supposed to be touching me. You're a hoe, dude. You're a hoe, dude. You're not even supposed to be touching me.
What does she mean you're not even supposed to be touching me? Does she think that only female police officers are allowed to touch women in any way? Seriously?
All right. Look. To your side.
I'm getting them. I ain't been into anything. You might think you're supposed to touch me.
Thank you. Yep, that too.
You might be supposed to touch me. You're a whole woman. You push me.
You did.
And I already got back on pop.
Let's go. Get up on your knees.
Let me stand up. Let my arms up.
Get up.
Y'all touching on me. Y'all need to take these handcuffs off.
Walk to that car. Nope. Walk to that car.
Call my lawyer.
Okay, you can call your lawyer.
Call my lawyer. Make sure they know. I'm in the middle of a interruption.
Yeah.
And he pushed me. So I did put my hands on him.
You ain't 7. Anybody else can slow down?
Get all that names.
Sit down now. Have a seat. Sit down, please. Sit down in the car. Sit down in the car. Sit down in the car. Get in the car.
I am in the car. His name is King.
Sit down. You're gonna.
Yep. His name is Brian.
My name will be on your.
He's the private garden. He pushed me.
Get in the car now.
Get him. He pushed me.
Get in the car. I'm gonna put you in the car. We have all the information. Get in the car. Get in the car.
Get him. He the one that pushed me. Don't touch me.
Just step back. You can record. You can record. Get in the car.
He the one that pushed me.
Back up in the car. Yeah, after you hit me in the face. Yeah, you're right. Back up in the car. Get in the car.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm not that. Don't touch me.
I'm not gonna touch you. Put your foot out, dude.
Don't touch.
Move your leg.
Don't tell me I got to say something. I never take from y'all. Yo, she in the heart. That bitch. She not hard. She not hard.
95?
What?
All right, you're under arrest also.
I'm not under arrest.
You're going to be under arrest.
Don't touch me.
Hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
I'm not under arrest.
Dark video coming up next.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Do not. Take it to the ground right now. Take it to the ground. Hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
You're stepping on my glasses. I need my glasses.
Hands behind your back.
Can I have my glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't see without my glasses.
Oh, I got it.
I'm in the middle. Can I have my
Let's get you up. Your side. You're on your side.
You know I cannot. My side hurt. I'm in the hospital. I just got out of an accident. I'm suing the out of y'all.
We're gonna help you get up, okay?
Don't touch me. I do it myself. Don't touch me.
We're gonna help you get up.
I don't want you to touch me. Don't touch me.
Get up. No.
Why don't you these cups?
Did she get up? You can meet us at the police department, Tristan. All right, we're gonna get you up to your feet, okay?
I don't want you to touch me. Don't touch me.
We're gonna have to help you. You gotta get
Please
up.
don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Get up.
Don't touch me. I'm gonna be here for all day. Don't touch me.
Okay.
Salesforce is an incredibly important and strategic investment for Indeed.
It was sort of a light bulb. I see all of these police officers just standing around her looking, just waiting for the go to just all of them lift her ass up. All the officers just standing there like, we're just waiting for the go. We're waiting for the go ahead. All of us are going to go in there all at once.
I guess I'll stop it. We saw 15 minutes of it.
Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are.
A minute.
This is about Jayapal and Ilhan Omar congratulating themselves because no one else is there to congratulate them. Let me know in the chat below if you've noticed that too. So here we are over at Newsmax with a court case, an actual exchange by Jayapal. Watch this.
The America I knew before these libs started to burn it down, that America was worth dying for. But when I heard this, I didn't even know how to react.
Thank you, Representative Omar. We are so grateful for your incredible leadership, for your courage, and for your representation.
Leadership for what? Courage? Not only do they not know what America is, they don't have any idea what courage is.
He takes Democrats seriously. This is Newsmax, and I love Newsmax, but of course she says that who else says Ilhan Omar has courage? And they're thankful for her representation, other than Jayapal.
How about Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar? In February of this year, she shot down claims that she's actually a millionaire. She wrote, "My salary is $174,000 before taxes. I don't have stock or own a home. And I'm still paying off my student debt. So if you're going to lie on something that is public, maybe try checking my financial statements and you will see I barely have thousands, let alone millions." Well, people have checked the public records now. Ilhan Omar apparently has a net worth upwards of $30 million, somewhere between $60 and $30 million. And get this, it's because of companies run and owned by her husband, who in 2023 had a net worth of $51,000. In 1 year, that $51,000 grew from $6 to $30 million, 3,500% growth in 1 year. What a good communist. It's always equality for you, elitism for those in power.
See, in my mind, this was courage. Thousands of young men who gave up everything, some of who lied about their age, to storm the beaches of Normandy into a hail of bullets that almost guaranteed to kill them. Raised the flag after 36 days on the Battle of Iwo Jima at top of Mount Suribachi. Courage is what kept my country out of the hands of communists like those people who are letting people out of jail on no cash bail who want to.
This is not a hero. This is division, and this is marketing. Ilhan probably went to Jayapal before this video clip and said, hey, comment on my courage. What is good is no one's saying this is courage by Tim Walz, who just got, looks like, investigated. This is Brett Baer and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are about to get busted for insurrection.
Breaking tonight, Fox News confirms the Justice Department is investigating Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for allegedly impeding law enforcement efforts on the ground. Again, confirming that DOJ investigation. Progressive Democrats, meantime, were in Minneapolis today, rallying around protesters, claiming the Trump administration is to blame for the chaos. The remarks from Congress.
They're also brave and heroic. Here's Brett Baer with that same clip.
Ilhan Omar and Pramila Jayapal come after another night of disorder in Minneapolis.
So that was what set up that first clip. They're being called in to testify, and they declare themselves brave. What's real bravery? Here's Pete Hegseth. Ending DEI in the military, which is a blight on those warriors that fought in World War II. They did often lie about their age to get in.
When President Trump appointed me as your Secretary of War, I made you a series of
I
promises.
have that
I promised
video.
that every single one of your taxpayer dollars would go toward one thing and one thing only: building the most lethal fighting force on the planet. And I promised we would gut the corruptive, unconstitutional, non-merit-based DEI programs that have weakened our military and distracted us from our primary mission.
So now we have an opportunity for the youth to come in and actually be heroic, because they'll be recognized for what they do instead of their skin color or their sexual identity.
And I promised we would hunt down the waste, the fraud, and the abuse that has run rampant in this department and redirect that money to President Trump's America First priorities. Well, today we are once again taking action on these promises. We're actually taking a sledgehammer to the oldest DEI program in the federal government, a program few people outside of Washington have ever heard of, that I hadn't heard of. It's called the 8A program. Now, if you're like me, you're asking yourself, what is an 8A?
What's the secret to peak health? Going micro with Noom.
It's designed to minimize side effects and give me real weight loss? Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Great question. 8A refers to the Small Business Administration's program to assist, quote, small disadvantaged businesses owned by a socially disadvantaged individual or tribe, end quote. Providing these small businesses with opportunities is a laudable goal. But over the decades, as it happens, the 8A program has morphed into swamp code words for DEI, race-based contracting. And here's the worst part. In many, many instances, these socially disadvantaged businesses, they don't even do work. They take a 10%, 20%, sometimes 50% fee off the top, and then pass the contract off to a giant consulting firm, commonly known as Beltway Bandits. For decades, this program, 8A, has been a breeding ground for fraud, and this administration is finally doing something about it. The Department of Justice, under Attorney General Pam Bondi, recently exposed $500 million in 8A fraud.
Everyone who is out to criticize Pam Bondi, will you agree that she found this fraud? She's the one that found it, by the way, and she's stopping a redistribution of wealth of $1 billion going from the lethality of our military to being able to go to our boys that are in the military, go back to building it back up instead. That's a real hero, not Ilhan Omar that we saw earlier.
Besant found another $250 million, and their investigation is just beginning. Treasury, Justice, and the Small Business Administration under Administrator Loeffler are all actively investigating their 8A contracts right now. Now, in the Pentagon, $100 million sole source contracts go out the door to these 8A firms almost every day. $100 million sole source contracts go out our door to these 8A firms almost every day without any competition or opportunity for anyone else to bid. The Department of War is required by law to do almost $100 billion worth of contracts per year with small businesses, including 8A firms.
So good. Now that's no longer going to happen. You're not going to get any more of the scammery of businesses that don't deserve it. And they're just passing it off onto other bigger businesses anyways to help them make money. The final piece I'm going to end on here is John Thune. This is Elon Musk saying this is the only way to save America. And you guys can tell me in the chat below, is it this bad? Are we this far along? What is the only way to save America? He's quoting Gunther Eagleman's post here. 16 days into 2026, it's past time for the Rhino Senate leader, John Thune, to do his job and nuke the filibuster and pass the SAVE Act. I do agree with the SAVE Act. You got to pass that one. That keeps illegals from voting. He's tagged in this post, so be loud. So this has been going on for a while now. Let's see, this posted, this is this morning or yesterday. This post alone got 3.4 million views. So this is how you market the Trump agenda. You get it up the ladder. You get Congress start talking about it and voting on it. And so I support that. I hope it does save America. I do believe that we should overturn the filibuster. I don't know if we have enough votes on that one, guys, but we definitely have enough votes for the SAVE Act to keep illegals from voting in our elections. It'll demand that they have some kind of, hopefully, a proof of citizenship. And that alone would keep the Democrats from winning ever again. Are you on board? Let me know in the chat below. I'm Doug.
Okay, I got another second one. It's about 10 minutes. And I got 2 Trish videos.
Playoff mode, only on fan. Ooh, welcome to Doug in Exile. As I cover the news, we have a great quote from Dan Bongino. We're going into a lot of the international stuff with Greenland and kind of opening up the Trump strategy, how all of this has to do with us beating China at a war that hopefully will never exist thanks to Trump. Shout out to the Happy Patriots, the people that watch this show all the time. You guys know my bias. My bias is to promote MAGA, make sure that MAGA and America win, and to destroy the satanic Democrat Party so that no one would ever think of voting for them again. That's my bias. I'm here to also present the gospel to you. Those of you who have not repented, repent. And if you have repented, like me, repent again. Because we stand before a good, holy God, and I've been given so much I didn't deserve. I don't deserve my friends. I don't deserve my wife. I don't deserve this country. I did not earn this being born in this country. I don't deserve God. I don't deserve what Jesus did for me on the cross. So, and I believe that being grateful and just realizing that a lot of the stuff that you get, you don't have it coming. Gratitude is the key to happiness. Going around going, there's not enough. Nothing's any good. Nothing's happening. There's not enough arrests. This country's done. That is a recipe for unhappiness. Let's get to Dan Happy. To me, he's starting to reveal a little much. This is good for us, for me to get information about geopolitical stuff. But this is the first where he's out of office, and I believe he's telling us kind of what the score is and what's really happening. You know, he's a security guy. He can only say so much, but here's his tweet. He says, President Trump's hemispheric security strategy is geopolitical common sense. I've seen the threat picture and it's ominous. So this is the thing that I think people don't understand is a president gets into office and they get that little like black book, the little black dossier by the CIA, the FBI, and the Pentagon, and they go, this is what's really happening around the world. And they go, holy crud, you know, and they throw out their entire agenda they ran on. When you get that, all that inside information, this is what's really, now the conspiracy theorist thinks they get a little black dossier that says, you know, the Jewish space lizard aliens are really controlling everything. And that's why you have to be quiet or whatever, or the Bilderbergers or the Rothschilds or whatever. No, that's not it. I think you get the idea when you finally get into office, Trump, who thought, I'm an isolationist. I'm against the foreign wars. I'm against Iraq and Bush. We lost and we were stupid. That's a very simple way of looking at the world. It might be true, but it's overly simplified. And now that Trump's been removing Maduro from Venezuela, he's being called like a neocon and a war hawk, you know, and he's talking about overturning regimes in Iran. And, you know, it's okay. I'm only saying I think the isolationist view of never touch anything overseas, never help an ally, never fund anything overseas, you know, no world building over there. I think it's a little bit naive because they act like, you know, there's a giant magic wall around America and no missile can come in from any other, you know, country. Like you have China right now making inroads into Canada. Why couldn't they put a missile silo in Canada? It makes it very direct to us. Anyways, Dan Bongino is going to explain. I'm sorry for going on and on, guys. I'm very excited today. We cannot, in an age of both advanced tactical and digital threats, that being AI, allow sworn enemies of the United States to eat up playgrounds in our backyard. It will not end well if we do. Mike Lindell and Dr. Phil have talked about a lot of the land being bought around our military bases by China. And I don't want to get all paranoid about it or anything, but we're way too chummy with the idea that China was making major business deals with Venezuela, and they're in our hemisphere, or they're getting very close to Canada. And what do you do about it? You don't want to wait till it's too late to do something about it. This isn't the roaring 20s anymore, he says. And I love that quote, because that's where kind of the isolationism was born. Back in the early 1900s, this is a completely different world, guys, with space being part of the frontier of our military conquest now. You could have us arguing over the moon when you have Elon Musk already and Jeff Bezos saying that they're putting together bases on the moon to help us get to Mars and all that. You have satellites around the world. You have us being able to do these energy weapons. We know that there's lasers now mounted to many battleships. There is, nuclear subs, drones, mysterious flying machines that we don't fully understand, technology, and of course, AI and bots and malignant programs that can go in and just flood the zone of all of our internet, could shut it down, even shut down things like the energy grid. This is not the roaring 20s anymore, says Dan Bongino. Although the economy is roaring, the threats are expanding too, and distance buys us time. Physical distance buys us time against physical assets. That evaporates in our own backyard. This should not be a partisan issue. God bless America and those who defend her. And that's kind of my opening statement. And now here I am, going so long. It's almost time for the close of the show. I'm going to let this show go a little long to expand on this, because Dan Bongino absolutely nails it. It's time for us to reorient our head from quit thinking like it's the 1920s. And, you have to like pull a missile over a border being pulled with a horse and buggy. These are the most advanced weaponry, and Dan Bongino is spilling the tea, saying he saw what went on over there. Here's another example. President Trump destroying the globalist New World Order that was going to be China totalitarian model. This is posted about Greenland and Canada and America first by this guy who I think is brilliant.
Everyone thinks Trump is crazy to want Canada. He's insane to want Greenland or Venezuela. But Trump is actually acting in a very, very, very rational manner. You see, Trump has been informed that unless the United States, over the next few years, can double or triple its entire energy production, unless they can secure all the rare earth minerals and all the AI chips, they will lose the Cold War for artificial intelligence to China.
And if you lose the Cold War of artificial intelligence to China, China wins. Victor Davis Hanson goes into this all the way when he's talking about World War II. If you ever get a chance to listen to those Hillsdale dialogues, the Hillsdale free classes on World War II taught by the classicist Victor Davis Hanson, the smartest man I've ever heard speak for the last 25 years. I've been following him. You can lose a war based purely on industry. So he goes into the case of how really the way that the West beat Germany in World War II was we flat out outproduced them, outmanufactured them on tanks, on missiles, on destroyers, on planes. We're able to keep ahead of them by outbuilding them. And the American people, we recycled the rubber and aluminum and all that. We helped the war effort better than the Germans did. And that was what won the war. So we outproduced them. It's a manufacturing proposal. It's not the good guy wins. It's the most productive wins. So if you're the good guy, which we are, you want to make sure that you're the most productive. We need to beat China at production. And we have a little problem because China is the world's #1 producer of anything. They build the chips, they build the drones, they manufacture this. They can't innovate and create anything, but they can copy and out-manufacture anyone. And Trump's trying to address that. That's what this is about regarding Greenland, Venezuela, all that. We need Greenland also just for a tactical advantage.
Which will make China the world's superpower for the next decades or centuries to come. And so what seems like Trump acting crazy is his very atypical manner in which he's trying to secure desperately all the pieces of the puzzle over the next few years to maintain the United States as the global leader.
He's also trying to do it without telling you what he's doing. This is another weird thing about Trump. Not weird, it's brilliant. He doesn't go on camera and everyone's going like, why does he want Greenland? By the way, Greenland, the grab for that sounds like a Monty Python gig, you know, where the king, they go, and we shall take Greenland. You know, it sounds so random, but really tactically it's a huge advantage. He doesn't want to go on camera and say, look, we need Greenland or we're going to lose to China tactically. He would never admit that because then China goes, oh yeah, cool. We get it now. He's going to go, they owe us mineral rights, or we have really good deals we could make over there, or we would make them into a great country is how he words it. He never says he's terrified of China. And that's why he keeps throwing all this money in American money into AI and into energy to fund basically the AI computing is where we have a huge energy deficit, and China's ramping up their energy. Not to fuel their cars, to fuel their massive AI infrastructure. So artificial intelligence, whether if you like it or not, it's the future, and it's going to dictate future wars. And Trump is doing the best preventative maintenance that he can right now. And frankly, I don't think Trump is even that smart. I think he's part of an incredible team of people that are thinking way ahead for America and thinking big thoughts. And he's not alone in that. Like I said, he has a whole team. And I think they went and told him, look, you got to get on this AI thing. You got to build some battleships. He goes, yeah, we're going to build a battleship. Here's more.
The Atlanta Fed just announced GDP growth is a blistering 5.5%, meaning we are currently growing faster than China. Will Chinese have to teach their kids English? New numbers from the Trump-hating Fed admit we are in a Reagan-level boom, even as legacy media keeps pimping the Trump depression.
That's just another commentator saying that for the first time, we just hit 5% GDP growth. We're now outperforming China. And that's a key. Once you can outperform them on what you can build and what you can manufacture and what your profitability, you just now beat them at an invisible war. Here's why the liberals can't get off stupid. Here's Dan Bongino. This is an older clip of his about liberals from March of 2025 last year.
They get a message, they go out there and they all just repeat the same thing.
7 minutes.
Here we go. Did you check this out? Here, and listen to this video. This is what is this? That shit that's a lie or something like that. But watch how they all got the message and just the exact same script over and over and over again.
This is stupid Democrats that when they get the message, how they all repeat each other. Watch this.
I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That's what you just heard. Since day one, Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down. They're up. Inflation is getting worse. Prices of grocery, gas, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better.
Okay, I have no problem with a message getting out there, but can you improv at least a few words?
Yeah, they even use the same words when they said that SHIT ain't true. They copied each other's words. The Democrats have nothing to run on, guys. They're empty heads. They have no policy. Here's Mike Davis with my last quote for this episode. We have more episodes to come. I hope you subscribe. But here's Mike Davis. He's one of the main voices I trust because he's very close to the administration. Mike Davis, today's Democrats are desperate and dangerous cowards. In the last election, they lost the political debate over immigration. At the Supreme Court, they lost the legal debate over immigration. So Democrats are now threatening and even assaulting the good men and women of federal law enforcement for simply doing their jobs. Democrats are beholden to criminal illegals, truly despicable. This is a clip that should haunt all of us on social media. What Ted Lieu here is threatening is that they will be able to use clips of me forever in lawsuits against me. He's actually making the threat being public, saying the next time we win, we're going after all the videos of ICE agents and we will persecute them. Watch this.
It's the right to photograph and video police conduct. And because it's the right to gather information about what public officials do on public property. And because it's about the right to record matters of public interest, which is being protected.
I simply want to note that midterm elections are in less than a year. There will be new presidential elections in less than 3 years. The statute of limitations for violations of federal law is 5 years.
That's from the clip that we showed earlier with he's sitting next to Ilhan Omar. This is actually a much more important part of the clip.
He goes, the videos of these ICE agents, what they did, he goes, I'm reminding you, he's saying this to thinking they're going to win. If Democrats win fall of 2026, and if we win the election in 2028, we can still use all of the video footage of ICE agents busting
Sorry about that, you
illegals
guys.
for 5 years. They're going to nail every ICE agent for performing what they believe is an illegal act, illegal and immoral.
You're waiting to go skating, spinning reels before your turn. Thousands of slots to play when you've got some time to.
They just told you this.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former MPD police officer. You know, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as shit should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, if we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic Party, but I'm saying that this is the way the Democrats should communicate. They should say, when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that that immunity decision can be overturned. And so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
And if America votes for this, then guess who else is going to get swept up in this? Anything I say, they can hold me to account.
And while this administration may not hold anyone accountable, I guarantee you a future administration will.
A future administration will hold people accountable. He's not just talking about Trump. He's talking about everyday ICE agents, guys. That's why I'm not exaggerating when I go, this is a life or death. This is, the country is over. Remember, we believe the country is over if the Democrats take it, because their worldview is so different than what we believe America is. But they believe the same thing. That's why they did what they did to Trump. They go, he is not America. You patriots, you're not America. Tariffs are not America. Going after Greenland is not America. Beating China is not America. Opposing Islam is not America. Opposing the rainbow, not transing your kids, separating biological men from women while running in sports is not America. Saying that a man can't have a baby is not America. That's what the Democrats think. This is the battle for two Americas. And yes, it is true that if the Democrats win, they're going to start imposing a very different America, what I would call not America. And yes, if we win, continue to win, we're going to keep implementing a world where the Democrats, who are socialists, who are Islamicists, pro-rainbow, pro-trans, expand the Supreme Court. They don't believe in rule of law. They don't believe the vote. They don't believe in the vote at all. That America is going to come to be. They believe in prosecuting us for free speech, as he said, going after ICE agents, that is legal agents. They're going to declare them illegal and start hunting them. Now you guys know what's at stake, and I'm glad that you guys are in this battle with me. Let me know in the chat below if you're on board. Are you still MAGA? Did you give up?
Okay, yeah, he was right on that one. I want to get 3 Trish videos in and then see how things go after that.
well. Has anybody seen Iran lately? Yeah, so Iran's on that list, and Russia's on that
Anybody
list.
hear about this?
Here's the article from Daily Mail that we're looking at, a graphic of 75 nations. You know, did you see the headlines today as well? I don't want to go too deeply into this, but you've got Iran actually calling for the assassination and saying, oh, we're not going to miss this time on President Trump. That's not good. All right. So they're out there trying to flex their muscle. And he's like, okay, well, fine. We're just not going to bring anybody that could be a threat into this country. Let's go to his talking about this right now.
And if you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and we're sending you back to the place from where you came.
That would be if you're a Somalia fraudster, right? Anyway, again, back to the news that 75 countries he's ending visas for. We had just learned yesterday that he was ending all visas that were in process for the country of Somalia, with the idea that Somalia is not in as treacherous a space anymore, and thus it would be okay for people to go back to Somalia, even if you were here seeking some kind of refuge. Iran, meanwhile, closing airspace despite Donald Trump steering away from military strikes. So he's kind of indicated that he would not be looking to strike Iran, but we have, I can tell you and report that we have pulled our military out of the surrounding areas. I believe that we had some people in Qatar. We've taken them out because we're just doing this as a precautionary note, given how things are heating up right now, given that you have Iran calling for the assassination of the president of the United States. So this is certainly an escalation in the situation, and the flight radar data has shown that are there, right? Because now you have this flight barrier in effect, and the order comes in all this tension over the crackdown that we've seen in Iran over the protesters, because the protesters have been taking to the streets. You're starting to see a difference in sentiment, and sources I've spoke to have said, like, for the first time, they actually feel very encouraged about a potentially different future there in Iran. So that's encouraging. But given what's happening with the crackdown against the protesters, there's a chance that you could see American strikes in response. And that's something that I think is on the table. Like everything, as he says, is always on the table. Back to what's going on with the visas and what is going on with money. Donald Trump coming out and saying, you know what? If you're stealing from us, we don't want you here. We're going to send you back. We're going to denaturalize you. So that's interesting. And that's going to be met with all kinds of legal mumbo jumbo. You better be sure. But the fact that he is being he probably has the room to do this on the 75 countries, given what's going on in Iran. So he's got the cover there. But this is fascinating. Brand new story out today, first reported by John Solomon and Just the News. Feds are probing hundreds of millions of dollars in suspected Somali cash leaving Minneapolis airport. And we're not talking about just hundreds of millions. We're talking about 700 million over the span of 2 years, which is 99% more than any other airport. Okay. So why is so much cash fleeing Minneapolis? And this is what they're declaring. Imagine what's not being declared. This is like cash going out in suitcases that they fill out the paperwork for. Wow. I mean, you've heard me talk about the Hawala network, right? And that person-to-person thing, and they're bringing money back and forth here, there, and everywhere. The TSA has flagged nearly $700 million in cash detected in passengers' luggage leaving the Minneapolis airport in the last 2 years. It is a massive cash exodus, and it is believed to be tied to Somali immigrants and their money couriers. Again, the Hawala network. Remember that. I've done a lot of terrorist financing investigations throughout the course of my career, not here in the US, primarily in Latin America, going back to Hezbollah and Hamas. But how do they do it? The Hawala network. And that's the money carriers. Okay. So this is being reported now to Homeland Security. They told Just the News this. The officials say the cash movements out of Minnesota's largest airport began about a decade ago, around the time the Democrat Governor Tim Walz took office, and have grown substantially, really substantially in the last several years. So pretty distressing and disturbing stuff. And concerning. They all were legally declared according to U.S. customs rules. That's kind of fascinating, right? Pretty damn fascinating. Even though that they were, declared according to U.S. custom rules, it's raising a lot of suspicion, because if that's what they're declaring, what are they not declaring? Again, knowing that you've got all these fraudsters there, right? I mean, there's a lot of suspicion. We're now talking about $9 billion that they believe may have been generated out of the state of Minnesota. You're talking about $600 billion nationwide. That was the number that the GAO has been reporting. And we're not getting really any answers. I mean, they just want to tell us that we're prejudiced every time this comes up, right? Which I'm not buying that anymore. Ilhan Omar. Ilhan, who, by the way, is acting really scared. Ilhan Omar is acting like she's got something to hide. I want to share with you something from Mike Lindell's channel. A reporter asked Ilhan Omar yesterday about the money that is allegedly gone, $9 billion, and Ilhan challenged her on it. So she went back again today. Listen to Ilhan's answer and how nervous Ilhan now seems to be, and she's getting nasty. Like the attacks are getting really visceral and really like almost silly, but we'll react to it together. Here we go.
Congresswoman Omar, yesterday you told me to please read when I asked you about the $9 billion fraud that you denied is happening, but I have it right here. I read. Look, Chairman Comer opens hearing on massive fraud scandal, $9 billion.
That's what Comer believes, because he's as smart as you are.
It's not just Comer. It's Scott Besson. It's federal prosecutors. It's House Oversight. And
no
it's Minnesota State Reps.
You can have that, ma'am. I think you need to get examined because your brain has been fried in some way, and it's not okay. I really hope you get some help. You and the Republicans here. Take care, okay, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I couldn't go to the learning centers that you're running over in Minnesota, but I think you should perhaps read what's actually
one of those learning centers.
I need one of those learning centers.
Let's see it.
About 2 minutes.
You see what I mean? Like the attack is getting really, really low. I mean, she's got nowhere to go, right? Because what is the truth? The truth is, yes, they believe it's $9 billion right now, and that's been reported from every news outlet. And Ilhan Omar looks back at her and tells her she needs help when she confronts her with facts. Ilhan Omar trying to twist it around like you're the crazy person. I'm sorry. You know what? Ilhan, you guys got a problem there in Minnesota. A very big problem. And by the way, you may be connected to it. I don't think you're out of the woods in any way, shape, or form. No, Ilhan Omar is going to be investigated. I don't even think they're fully telling us everything that's going on with her. They've kind of come out about Keith Ellison. They've come out about Tim Walz. Tim Walz, who, by the way, is about to be impeached. Yeah, that news came this afternoon by Republicans in the state house there in Minnesota, because he's done nothing. And every time everybody says, well, why aren't you doing anything? Somehow they come back with, well, you're a racist because you're suggesting this. It's like, no, I mean, there's $9 billion missing. We're going and knocking on daycares and nobody's there. I mean, Nick Shirley, I'll tell you, Barry Weiss, you want to get with it over at CBS, go hire Nick Shirley, okay, for your 60 Minutes team, because he knows how to do it. Like, it's just basic reporting, which you're seeing far more of in citizen journalists than you are over at those networks, because they're all in cahoots, I guess, with Ilhan Omar. I'm not suggesting that they did anything nefarious from a financial position. I mean, other than maybe the USAID money, I don't know, going to some of these places. Politico, looking at you with those very expensive subscriptions that nobody actually needs. USAID was buying. Ooh, all right. Yeah, and you just happen to be the outlet of choice that they decide to put Biden's big letter saying that, oh, no, that Hunter Biden laptop, that was not anything but misinformation brought to you by Rudy Giuliani and the Russians. Yeah. Where did they choose to bring that? To the outlet that they were paying with USAID money. I'm just saying that's kind of an interesting coincidence.
Okay, that was another good one from Trish. Yeah, one more Trish one, and then I'm going to finish off with one George. The George video in. Getting tired. I know.
Blocking traffic, threatening to run over, possibly. That's my interpretation of that tape. We walked through it frame by frame yesterday, remember? Threatening to run over a DHS agent. So that's not cool. But apparently, this is all kind of something that she may have trained for. The administration is saying that she attended an ICE agitator training camp, that she was somehow radicalized in her kids' preschool, and that she was prepared for this kind of thing, and that she had been, and everybody's like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Well, I got news for you. An MSNBC anchor basically doesn't really like white women. She blames white women for having Donald Trump in the Oval Office right now, but she just came out and admitted it today on some podcast she did. And she's basically telling us that the left is radicalizing these women and they're training these women. And so Renee Good may have been one of those women. In fact, let's go to Joy Reid right now, who explains it.
Part of a group of people who they train to try to be ICE interrupters. And what they try to do is observe what ICE is doing, film them, and try to use their white privilege, to be honest. They're mainly white people.
Which is what we ask.
Which is what we ask them to do, right? Because Black people, like, we can't put our bodies on the line because cops will shoot us. And so the presumption had been, particularly a white woman, because remember, part of the rationale for doing this with ICE is to save white women, pristine white women, from being ravaged by, criminal brown men. So white women, have been taking the lead in being the ones to step.
Okay. You hear her. I mean, she's not wrong though, right? I mean, I don't think she's wrong. I think that this is part of the methodology. This is part of the thinking. What they don't realize is actually, the police can be pretty aggressive with white people too, because the police are responding to a dangerous situation. So whether it's police or whether it's ICE or DHS, whatever, they're responding and they're the ones with the guns. So I think that's totally bogus to assume that just because you're a certain color, they're not going to go after you. And I think that was actually disproven, unfortunately, for one Renee Good. But when we go back and we look at that tape, look at how sort of innocent she's presenting herself to be, all while the wife is agitating the guy. It's like they're trying to push these guys over the edge. And this is not the only time it's happened. Watch. Okay, so remember, she's just blocking traffic. So she gets out there with her car deliberately to block that traffic. And then when they come up and they try and talk to her, she's all smiley. Meanwhile, the wife, you're going to see circling, is agitating the guy. Look.
I'm not mad at you.
She even says, I'm not mad at you. What's that about? I'm not mad at you.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead. Out of the car. Get out. Get out of the car.
So, I just got to say that you think about how sort of innocently she's portraying herself, that she thinks that she can actually just go forward in that car, spin forward, and that guy, that agent, because she's white and blonde, doesn't think that his life is in jeopardy. Are you kidding me? But this is apparently, according to a new article, very good op-ed in the New York Post today, kind of the new cause du jour. Soccer moms are taking up this dangerous new hobby. They want to become ICE saboteurs. A decade ago, Kristen Fleming writes, bored females were radicalized by multi-level marketing schemes, selling unsightly leggings from LuLaRoe. I don't even know that company. I guess I never got into the legging phase. Or Rodent in Fields moisturizer. This is what they were doing a decade ago. And nowadays, guess what? They're going in to become ice agitators and ice saboteurs. It says now many are finding their purpose and identity through aggressive activism, becoming anti-ICE social media influencers, undergoing training as legal observers, and creating physical chaos to federal law enforcement. So if they're undergoing training, right, and they're just trying to be out there with the little cameras and we're just gonna annoy you until the point of no return, it's pretty wild. And I think that that's what's going on, because I got some more tape I want to show you. Anyway, she writes, it's as naive as it is dangerous. Yes, indeed. Since Good's death last week, there are videos of women punching ICE vehicles in Minneapolis, aggressively confronting agents. Some are acting out for the cameras, obviously hoping for social media cred or perhaps communion with other social justice types in their neighborhood. One mother who brought her baby to a protest in Minneapolis told a reporter she just wanted to feel the energy. Woo! What a way to get excited in that cold Minneapolis weather. I find it pretty appalling, but there may be something to this. As you look at the way that they're going about the agitating. Meanwhile, I'm just kind of wondering, does this mean that Joy Reid can stop blaming white women for losing the election? I guess we have white women to thank, right? I don't know about that. But she was really devastated on election night. I mean, she looked like she actually was going to break down in tears. And if you listen to her voice, it starts to shake. Maybe she knew the handwriting was on the wall and her job was over that evening. And she gets really angry with white women. Listen.
We are strong. We come back. We push forward.
But in the end, if they didn't make their numbers and essentially exceed the numbers that Joe Biden had in the suburbs, and I think we have to be blunt about why. For Kamala Harris, white women voters did not. That is what it appears happened in that state, is that if you can't flip enough white women, and we've talked about this on this set numerous times, but that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing.
Okay. So, it's their fault. She made it clear on set that night and then later on her little TikTok account.
But it is a Rubicon to me. Killing.
That's actually her today. We can go back to that in a second. I want to show you her little TikTok where she's like, oh, if you're a white woman, don't be all kiki and cool with me. So I don't know. Are white women trying to win the approval of Joy Reid these days? I'd say there's better things to focus on, but here she is.
Hey, I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any Black women. I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming. I'm pretty sure Black women have resigned from the Save America Coalition, Save Democracy Coalition, and definitely the Save the Democratic Party Coalition. I think that's probably not happening. I would just keep those invites maybe among your own friends, because I don't think they're coming. But yeah, I think Black women are now on the Save Black Women, Prioritize Black Men, and prioritize Black communities, Black businesses, and that. And the Black spaces, but Save America, Save the Democratic Party. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Okay. What's going on here? They realize, okay, we got this soccer mom crowd and they didn't turn up the way that we anticipated. So how do we excite them? How do we get things going? And now they turn them allegedly into agitators and they're out there harassing nonstop.
Okay, those are three good ones from our two Trish videos. 15-minute one, last one, I'm getting tired of George just came out. Tomorrow night at 6.
Almost done. Ladies and gentlemen, things are really bad in Canada right now. It sucks watching it happen. At this point, Canadians should be praying, oh, Emperor, Conqueror, Imperial Dictator Donald Trump, Orange Man, please save us. Bring us to the American Empire. Because the alternative is being ruled by Mark Carney, who just made one of the worst trade deals with China. And when I say it's bad, that's perhaps an understatement. It's so bad that even this guy, Canada's very own Hulk, he's even saying, and the Canadian leaders who had all this smoke for Trump are realizing he was right. To regret retaliating against the United States and destroying any chance of a deal, and surely they are. This was the guy that was interfering in America's elections, spending millions of Canadian dollars, attacking Trump for his tariff policy, and Trump straight up just canceled the trade talks.
I'll launch a $75 million ad, and we're going to repeat that message to every Republican district there is right across the entire country.
And now with the Carney Canada deal, depression has hit Hulk. You won't like him when he's sad.
I'm very concerned, and so are my friends in Michigan concerned. When you have China coming in at a low cost of EVs, is concerning. We you know, as everyone knows, between Ontario and Michigan 7-8 times and get assembled in Michigan or get assembled here in Ontario. And when you have the Chinese government wanting to dump cheap Chinese parts and cheap vehicles here, it costs the Canadian and American jobs. So I'm absolutely 100% dead against this.
This is going to be terrible for not only just all the people of Ontario, but especially the auto manufacturers, the supply chain. We're letting China into a market that's going to have lower tariffs than our largest market, the U.S. And I don't think that's going to go over too well with President Trump, but it's going to hurt every single auto manufacturer, every single supply chain that has anything to do with the auto sector. This was not thought out properly. It wasn't consulted. It was a knee-jerk reaction as far as I'm concerned. And this is going to be a big problem. This is a Chinese government that doesn't respect labor laws, that doesn't respect making cars environmentally friendly, with they basically making it with coal. They're heavily subsidized, totally against all the auto workers here, the country. This is not a good situation for the auto sector as a whole. Anyone who buys these cars, they won't be allowed to go to the U.S. Cybersecurity. I call it the spy car that they're bringing in, and they won't be allowed to get over there. And it's going to tick off the Americans that 80% of our autos are going down there. I believe that, speaking to the auto sector, speaking to the supply chain as well, they were coming up with a collaborative agreement, but now throw China in here for what? They aren't going to manufacture here. So it's just a terrible, terrible, miscalculated decision by the Prime Minister.
Here's Mark Carney announcing the trade deal like it's good.
The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is touting a new strategic partnership with China in talks with Xi Jinping in Beijing as part of what he has said is a new world order, in part due to the fallout from Trump tariffs in the United States. Now, there's been a noticeable tone shift from Ottawa towards Beijing as Carney wraps up the first state visit to China by a Canadian leader in more than 8 years. Now, after a lengthy diplomatic chill, the two nations have signed a series of agreements, including an energy pact that could see more Chinese investment in Canada and open up opportunities for China to buy more Canadian oil and LNG. Also, in quite a breakthrough, Carney says Canada will allow 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada at a tariff of just 6.1%, down from 100%. She reciprocated, according to Carney, by reducing its 100% ag tariff on canola or rapeseed to 15%. Xi Jinping hailed the talks as having achieved positive results.
After hearing that, it might sound reasonable. You're wondering why Canadians are in uproar. Well, it's simple. Canada gets tariff reductions to 15% on agriculture products, while China gets a 6.1% tariff on their electric vehicles. They are going to flood Canada with tens of thousands of their EVs at 6% tariffs. And here's the dangerous thing with China's EVs. China has a bunch of provinces, and all the provinces are in competition with each other. Every province wants their own electric vehicle company. They all want to manufacture their own EVs. But that creates an issue with too much competition. And the only way in an environment like that to earn market share is to lower the price on your EVs. But if you lower your price, your competitors are going to lower their price, and your other competitors are going to lower their price. And then you're going to have to lower your price, and then they're going to lower their price. You see, it's this constant loop where eventually no one has any increased market share. It's just 50 million companies all trying to sell for the lowest price. And what makes matters worse is they need access to foreign markets. And increasingly more countries are closing their doors to Chinese cars, because the other problem is they don't just lower prices to break even. They lower prices so much that they start selling for a loss. And the way they make up for that is the Chinese government. You see, China runs massive trade surpluses with virtually every country on earth. They don't open their markets to any foreign products. Whatever they need, they steal the intellectual property from other companies and countries and just make it themselves and sell it to themselves. So they are an export economy. With this extra surplus revenue that the government gets, guess what they do? They subsidize the Chinese companies, the EV companies, the semiconductor companies. So these companies aren't really companies. They're not operating on the same rules as an American company. Tesla, for example, in the United States, has to think about profits when they make and sell their cars. But a Chinese EV company gets a massive check from the Chinese Communist Party, and suddenly profits are taking a back seat. It's not fair for foreign companies because they don't get the same level of subsidies from their government. How does this come back to Canada? These EVs will flood Canada's market. They're going to be cheaper than everything else in Canada for the reasons stated prior. The Canadian consumers are going to want those EVs, obviously, and the consumers will demand a higher amount of Chinese EVs coming into Canada. And the government will capitulate. They'll open the market even more, allow 100,000, 1 million Chinese EVs. And guess what? The auto industry that Canada absorbed from the United States, much of which is leaving anyway, will have a bigger reason to leave because they're not going to be competitive in that market. Therein lies Canada's problem. They're allowing China to export tens of thousands of cars, which will turn into hundreds of thousands of cars, millions, and that will kill Canada's domestic industry. Hundreds of thousands of jobs will go along with it. Compare that to what President Trump's administration did for the United States with Taiwan. We negotiated a deal with the Taiwanese under which we tariff them at 15%, and they invest $500 billion in America's chip-making industry. $250 billion will come from the Taiwanese government, and $250 billion will come from private companies. We're forcing Taiwan's government to go to its bondholders to raise $250 billion and then invest it in our chip-making industry, which, by the way, is good for them. It entangles them economically with us. China will be terrified to invade an American economic ally. But Canada's negotiating a deal with China where they'll get all the Chinese products dumped into their markets, but at least they get to sell canola for only a 15% tariff. You know, this is why President Trump isn't mad at all, because Canada just screwed themselves.
Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign
a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
This is a man who understands deals better than anybody, and he knows Canada just lost big time. Here's another Canadian politician admitting that this deal is horrible for them.
Less than a year ago, Mark Carney said that the biggest threat to Canadian security was China. And today we have him trying to do business with them, and frankly, without delivering any auto sector jobs. So it's concerning.
So she mentions there correctly that Carney didn't guarantee any auto sector investments from China, and that's absolutely true. All he did was get China to reduce their tariff on Canadian canola and other farm products from 100% to 15%. And then he gave them a bigger concession on the electric vehicles. The question you have to ask is, does China now have an incentive to invest in Canada's auto sector, to manufacture some of the EVs anywhere in Canada? The answer is no. Canada just got screwed here. China will make the cars extremely cheap and sell them for ultra low prices at a loss and make billions of Canadian dollars. Canada got screwed, man. The men are going to understand this. This is like when your wife or your daughter gets an oil change and gets ripped off. Like she paid $1,000 and the mechanic was telling her he's fixing some bull crap, things that don't even exist. Or Sean Duffy, the United States Secretary of Transportation, making fun of Canada.
I love my brothers and sisters to the north. I'm from northern Wisconsin. I'm not going to accuse them of making the smartest decisions all the time. I think they will live to regret the day they partner with China in bringing in their vehicles.
Oh, this is horrible. And just the day after Canada did what it did, look at the line in Edmonton, people signing the petition to declare independence from Canada. No wonder they're declaring independence. They just got screwed over again by their liberal government, by Mark Carney and those communists.
Edmonton is showing up. Just goes on and on.
You know what this reminds me of? It's like a Trump rally. Any Trump rally I've been to, the line just took hours to get through. The one in Arizona, it took us like 60 minutes. And keep in mind, we were VIP. We went through a different entrance. And you have a 2-hour line, thousands of people waiting to declare independence from the liberals that have destroyed Canada. I support these people 100% because they'll sign this petition, they will be free from Canada, and then the United States will come in and annex them, baby. We're taking Alberta with us. And we'll take Saskatchewan. We'll take Saskatchewan. Sassy with us. We're taking Sassy, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, pray for our Canadian neighbors. They need it. Thank you all very much for watching. God bless and goodbye.
If your website already generates web form leads, this is for you. Someone just filled out a form on your website.
Okay, that's going to wrap things up for tonight. Getting tired. So, till anything happens, another night of intel. Everybody have a great week, rest of the weekend. 2 hours is quite a bit. 6 hours, so got quite a bit out tonight. So, Kay, Tim, Lucy, and everybody. Oh, Sheila. Sorry I missed you there. You come in there. You snuck in here. All right. So, everybody, God bless everybody. Love all. Please hit the like. Share your sub to the description box for the backup channel. And stay safe. Stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off, Chico and Dude. Everybody, good intel. Anything happens, you know, I'll be on. We'll see you soon.